Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wahdah, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. This next ayah, there is a background to it where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing how it is not befitting for believers to take oath that I wouldn't do this or I would do this. And then they found out that that was wrong thing that they have decided. So they must try and break that oath. So what happened, there was a companion by the name Abdullah ibn Rawaha. Abdullah ibn Rawaha, rahmatullahi alayh. Anyone knows about Abdullah ibn Rawaha? The companion, he was poet as well. He was from Medina. He was sent on this expedition, Jungle Muta, where three Sahaba consecutively, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that first it would be Zayd ibn Haritha radiallahu ta'ala, the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subsequently, he was the leader. He was there and he fought the Christian army. He got martyred. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, is Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's first cousin, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala's older brother. He took the charge and he fought and he got martyred. And then Abdullah ibn Rawaha, this Sahabi, and he fought and he got martyred. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, then the sword of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the charge and he managed to save Muslims from the clutches of the enemy and brought them back. And then they got refreshed and they were sent back again. Now this third, who is the saif of Allah, the sword of Allah? Khalid ibn Walid. Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu ta'ala. Anyway, so this Abdullah ibn Rawaha, he had this oath. Once he found that his brother and brother-in-law, sister and brother-in-law, he had a little bit of issue with them. He said, I'm not going to ever go and sort them out because they were husband and wife issues. I wanted to explain something. They would not listen to me. I'm not going to talk to them ever. He took that oath. Some scholar would say that this is the reason for this ayah that we're going to read in a minute. So Abdullah ibn Abbas, he mentioned that some used to say that I would not do certain righteous deeds. I'm not going to do that. For whatever reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's not befitting for believers to do that. So the ayah is like this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
ولا تجعلوا الله
ولا تجعلوا الله
عرضة لأيمانكم
لأيمانكم
ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم.
ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم.
What meaning? And لا, no, not, or do not. تجعلوا, جعل يجعل, to make, do not make. So, and so Allah is saying, and do not make Allah, or do not take Allah, urdah. This is like the unusual word. Urdah means an excuse. Li, for. Ayman, what is ayman? Not iman. Iman is faith. Ayman is oath. Your ayman, your oath. Kun, yours. So do not make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an excuse for your oath. Oh, I have taken oath in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so I can't do this. Since I've done it, I'm not going to do this righteous deed. تَبَرُّوا وَتَتَّقُوا وَتُصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. And that. Tabarru, that you do the bir. Bir means good deed. Laysa bir. Bir is good deed. So that you would do, you're making Allah's name as an excuse that I've taken the oath. Since I've taken this oath, I cannot talk to you, oh my brother, because I've taken the oath in the name of Allah. How could I violate it? I have taken the oath that I would never help you financially. That's why I can't give you any charity, oh my brother, because I've taken oath in the name of Allah. Unfortunate. And many people do that. There's a counterpart to that in our current time. When you want to reject the proposal, you say, oh, by the way, we had istikhara, and istikhara say we can't marry. That's why we don't want to. Because they don't feel comfortable saying that we don't like you, or we don't want to go ahead with this. But be honest. Don't make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't bring Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as an excuse for your personal gains, personal ideas. Anyway, so that you do good deed, saying that I can't do this good deed. وَتَتَّقُوا, and you, that I cannot have this righteous action. I'm not going to be fearful because I have taken oath in the name of Allah. And I cannot mend between people. I know there's a problem and I can go ahead and help them out, but unfortunately I've taken oath. So I can't go against it. So Allah says, don't do that. Don't use that oath of yours against being righteous and fearing Allah and making peace among people. Okay, that's for those students who are senior students. La is mahdhuf either, or it is to the negative sense. Wallahu sami'un alim.
والله سميع عليم.
Wallahu, and Allah is Sami', all hearing. Alim, all knowing. Ayat 224. Next at 225. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, "Man halafa ala yaminin fara'a khayran minha falyukaffir an yaminihi walyafal." Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "If anyone swears an oath and then he found something which was better than that, let him do that good deed and make expiation for the oath that he has taken." Which means that if you have really taken oath by the name of Allah, I would never do that, thinking about it, having a clear idea about it, then you have to fulfill that oath. If you do not, then you have to do the expiation for that. There's a penalty for that. We'll talk about that in a second. لا يؤاخذكم الله
لا يؤاخذكم الله
باللغو في أيمانكم
باللغو في أيمانكم.
لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم.
لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم.
لا, no, or not, do not. يؤاخذ, آخذ يؤاخذ مؤاخذة, take, to catch, to take someone for task, to blame someone, to reproach someone. So, kum, you. Allahu, Allah is the doer. Allah does not take you, blame you, reproach you. What for? Bil, for al-laghwi. Lagh, futile, vain, as a habit. So habitual oath. Fi in aymanikum, your oaths. In your oath, when you say wallahi, and you don't mean it. Some people have this idea, qasam Allah. They just say qasam Allah, wallahi, by Allah. Some people just say it. They do not mean it. They just say it for even whatever, like little. Are you coming for food? Wallahi, I'm just coming in a minute. Are you okay? Wallahi, I'm okay. You don't need a wallahi, by the way, but just people say it for even very little something. And that is lagh. That is just waste. They don't mean it. They do not confirm it. They don't even think about it. It is their taqiyya kalam, they call it. It's like a repetitive word that they use their tongue for. So Allah is saying that Allah does not take you to task, take you to account, blame you, reproach you for the oath that you take in vain. Okay? Unintentional. Without thinking. وَلَكِنْ يُؤَاخِذُكُمْ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ
بما كسبت
ولكن يؤاخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم
ولكن يؤاخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم.
and لكن, same lekin of Urdu. lekin, same thing. ولكن, but he would, يؤاخذكم, he would blame you, he would take you to task, he would reproach you, you, with, in what? Bima kasabat. Kasaba means to acquire. What you earn. What earn? Qulub. Qulub is the plural of qalb, meaning hearts. Your. What your hearts acquired, earn. If your heart, meaning that you have confirmed it with your heart, you thought about it, you mean it, you intended that oath. So you said, Ya Allah, I would never ever commit this sin, for example. I would never ever talk to this individual for whatever reason. But I meant it. then this becomes a binding. Then you have to fulfill that. If you do not, then you're sinful. You have to do expiation. You have to fulfill that. So then the hadith would be, if you found something better than that, and you have to go for the better one, you must break this oath and fulfill the expiation. Do the kafara. And I'll tell you what the kafara is. You have to fulfill the kafara, you have to pay the penalty, and then you break it because you have to do something better, as the hadith would clarify, yeah? But he imposes blame upon you for what your hearts have earned, and Allah is forgiving and forbearing. Wallahu ghafurur halim. And Allah is ghafur, forgiving, and halim, very patient. Allah is very forbearing. He tolerates a lot. للذين يؤلون من نسائهم
للذين يؤلون من نسائهم
تربص أربعة أشهر
تربص أربعة أشهر
لل four two, you can make as two as well. Two or four, it would do. It's a preposition. الذين, those people. For those people, يؤلون. أعلى يؤلو. إلا means إلا to take oath. A way of taking oath. And this is generally, literally it means to take oath. But in Islamic Sharia, it means to take oath of not going to your wife. You take the oath, Wallahi, I would not go to my wife because you're so unhappy and angry or whatever. It's called ila. You heard the word ila? Ila. So that's the term, fiqh term. Ila means to take oath that I would never ever go to my wife. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did ila. Do you know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Sahabiyat, azwaj mutahharat, the wives, they all gathered together and they kept saying, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we need some monetary help because we don't have enough. And they didn't. They would not have food every day. But their status was so high that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not have time to work to earn some money once he became prophet. The azwaj mutahharat, they were selected to be the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a very special personalities. And for their status, it behoves that they must be patient. Whatever they get, they get. Whatever they want, they won't get it. Only if Allah will, they may. So then what happened? Some of them, when they found it very taxing and hard, they requested Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for some support. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became a bit unhappy with that. And his character was very, generous, and he was very forgiving. So he just stayed quiet and he stopped seeing them for a whole month. So this is called ila. This is lughawiyan ila. Okay, ila means when you do not go to your wife for however period. So Allah is saying, for those who do ila, from nisa, what is nisa? Women, plural of women. Him, there. Those who take ila with their wives, saying that I'm not going to go to my wife. Tarabbus is waiting. That means this refrain, stay away. Arba'a, 4 ashhur, months. Shahr is month. Ashhur is the plural of that. For them, there is waiting period. Waiting time of 4 months. If they do not do that, if they do not break this oath, if they've taken the oath, then they are different situation. But most Muslims in the current time don't even know this, so you don't need to know. And you don't need to even do ila, so don't do it. Don't take oath on that, because there is certain issues there. I will explain in a minute. فَإِن فَاءُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. So then, and in, if fa'u, they return, they come back, meaning that the men who took that oath of not going to their wife, then they say, okay, I'm going back. Either they break it or whatever. So indeed, Allah is Ghafoor, forgiving, Rahim, merciful. Okay. If they return to the normal relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. But obviously there's expiation for that. We come to that in a minute. وَإِنْ عَزَمُوا الطَّلَاقَ
وإن عزموا الطلاق
فإن الله سميع عليم.
فإن الله سميع عليم.
And if عزموا, to have the determination, firm resolve, they decided, الطلاق, if they decided, I'm going to divorce her now. So indeed Allah is all hearing, Alim, all knowing. Okay, so oath. If someone takes an oath that he will not have any relationship with his wife, there are 4 situations. Number 1, he didn't say any time. There was no time limit. He didn't say a month, 2 months, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did for 1 month. You may say no time limit. Or you may say it is 4 months time that I'm not going to go to my wife. Or you say that it is more than 4 months, 6 months, a year. Or it was less than 4 months, a month, 5 days, 1 day, 1 week, however, whatever, less than 4 months. Less than 4 months is easy because it doesn't become Shar'i ila. Shar'i ila is actually 4 months. After that, you have one of the 2 choices. We'll come to that in a minute. So what are the rulings? Number 1, if you break the oath within 4 months, the person who has done the ila, if he breaks the oath within 4 months, then he has to do kafara. Kafara of breaking the oath. Because the oath was that I would not go to my wife, but he has done it. He has to pay the kafara penalty. We'll come to that in a minute. Then his nikah remains intact though. Because it is within 4 months, so his nikah is still intact. If on the other hand, 4 months passed, then they are separated forever. They got this talaq, which is talaq, whether they said it or not, automatically divorced. After 4 months, they're automatically divorced. It's called talaq ba'in, the irrevocable one, where you cannot even take her back. You can't say, oh, let me take you back. No, it is done. You have to do new nikah should you want to go ahead with this girl again. So you then have to redo the nikah, new nikah, with her permission, obviously, if she's happy with that. And then, if it was less than 4 months, if you broke the, so if less than 4 months, 1 month, you said a month. If you went there before 29 days, because a month could be 29 days. We're talking about lunar calendar, by the way. Yeah, it could be 30 days or 29 days. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did ila for a month, he said. Sahabiyat knows. Then he went up to the upper chamber of the house. And he stayed there for a whole month, didn't come to the wife. On 29th, after 29 days passed, he came down, Sayyidah Aisha said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, didn't you say a month? It's only 29 days today. It means 1 more day to go. She was, obviously their love and their connection, she was just teasing. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, some months are 29 days. This one was 29. Meaning, the nicety about husband and wife. Anyway, so if they've done the term which they decided, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no problem, all fine. You've done a month, you stayed away for a month, fine. If you did go to your wife before that time elapsed, could be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, but less than 4 months, anytime. Okay, and then 19 days, for example, or whatever it is, less than 4 months. Then you have to pay the penalty. Okay, then you have to pay the penalty because you have broken the oath of 30 days or 15 days or whichever day, whatever day. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then given us this expiation of breaking the oath. So by saying, I just read it from Surah-Al-Ma'idah, which we will cover when we go to that surah. لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما عقدتم الأيمان فكفارته إطعام 10 مساكين من أوسط ما تطعمون أهليكم أو كسوتهم أو تحرير رقبة فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام ذلك كفارة أيمانكم إذا حلفتم واحفظوا أيمانكم كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تشكرون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take you accountable for your vain oaths. But if you make this oath firm and you mean it, aqattum, you have just literally done it properly, then there is a kafara. And the kafara is it'amu asharati masakin, 10 people you need to feed 2 meals each. Or so min awsati ma tut'im, from the average of what you normally feed yourselves, your family, an average food, not very lavish and not very poor, not very lowly. Or kiswatuhum, or give clothing, a suit, 2 sheet, top and bottom, kurta and shalwar, whatever, two pair, whatever, 2 pieces of clothes to each of these 10 people, either this or that. You have a choice. Aw tahriru raqaba, or you free the neck, meaning free a slave. Obviously, we don't have slaves these days, so you can't do that. It's gone. It was for Sahaba in the early time. And if you don't find the means, financial means to do any of the 3, then فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ, whoever doesn't find it, فَصِيَّامُ, so then he has to fast ثَلَاثَةِ أَيَّامٍ, 3 days consecutive. Okay, you have to do in order, 3 days in a row. This is the kafara for the faith, for the oath that you have perfected. Okay. Then Allah says, وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, but protect your oath. Don't do it if you can't fulfill the condition. And if you've done it, then stick with that. This is why you would find that this ayah was the reason, this bit, the وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ. Don't take oath, but if you have done it, make sure that you do protect it. And Tabi'een, A'imma, the early generation, the Salaf al-Salihin, they were so particular about this. They would never ever, they would go out of their ways so that they do not have to break their oath, because Allah requested, Allah ordered, Allah commanded them. Allah's expectation from a true Muslim is that they do not break their oath. So someone came to Imam Malik rahmatullah. This man was very concerned. He said, "Yeah, Imam, what do I do? I've taken oath that if Allah fulfill my this particular thing, I would do that action." And then that action happened. This is my nazar. It's like a type of oath. So I have to do it. But I said in that I would do an act of ibadah, an act of worship that no one from the Muslims will be doing in the world. Now I'm stuck. What ibadah can I do that I can guarantee no one in the world will be doing? If I recite Quran, someone must be working on that. Someone in the world might be reciting it. If I say prayer, then someone must be doing it. So how do I go about it? Faqih Imam is Imam. The beauty is that this person has taken an oath and he was sensible enough to go to the right person. And he actually went to few other people and they all said that we don't know, we don't know. And he finally came to Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi. Imam Malik said, "Take my letter to the governor of Makkah." And he went, and governor of Makkah, he said, "Imam Malik is advising you to stop everyone from doing tawaf and let this man have individual tawaf." He did tawaf all by himself. Everyone else was barred from doing it. He fulfilled his nazar. Why Allah allowed him to have that? Because he had this idea without thinking, but he wanted to keep it. He went to different shuyukh, and finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him to Imam Malik, and Imam Malik actually got him the right answer, and he got the luxury. Isn't that amazing? Perhaps the only person in the whole world for 1400 years who did tawaf all by himself. No one was with him. And perhaps would never happen again. Isn't that amazing? And another important point was that the imams, the scholars were respected. He could just write a letter from Medina to the governor there, and they would respect and honor Imam. They say, "Who are you? Come on, get out." They know that this is Imam, this is our Sheikh. He said it. Everyone would respect the ulama. Now we can't even respect our Masjid Imam for the prayer. If he said, "Please move forward," I'm not going to move at all. Can you just be Inna lillah. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah, there was subhanallah, a great Imam. I wouldn't mention his name because it's funny. His wife was very beautiful and he was a little bit not very beautiful, I mean the other way. But he got this wife and normally they would chit chat before going to bed. She became unhappy due to certain things. She stopped talking. He said, if you don't talk to me and you've been disturbing me and I've been dying to speak to you and you're not talking to me and I'm just waiting for you, if you stay the way you are, muh phula ke baithenge. The wise woman, not talking to you type thing, showing the attitude, so to say. If you don't do it before Fajr, and Fajr Azan is before the Azan, Fajr, I would divorce. You're divorced 3 times. Out. And the wife was actually quite keen to decide that. Now, half an hour, 45 minutes, next hour, and he's just panicking. Oh my goodness, there are only a few hours to go. And here she is, not listening at all. And she's not going to budge. And he said, you can't do anything. He came out and he knocked at Imam Abu Hanifa's. He happened to be Imam Abu Hanifa's teacher in hadith, but he wasn't a faqih. He said, oh, Nu'man, I'm stuck. Help me out. I'm just done. Looks like Imam Sahib, don't you worry. Imam Sahib gave the opinion. Imam Abu Hanifa said, Rahmatullah alayh, don't you worry. You go home, but just of your masjid mu'adhin, tell him that whatever I instruct him to do, he would do it. Because he doesn't know me. Is your local masjid. Ask your masjid imam that you would only do adhan today at the time when Imam Abu Hanifa would tell you. He says, but Abu Nu'man, you don't know my wife. I can guarantee she would not speak to me because she want to get out of this for a long time. Imam said, leave it to me, Hazrat, because you asked me and I will sort it out. Leave it to me, but you go and sleep. I can't sleep. I'm just so anxious and I don't want to leave with this wife. And then anyway, he went. He had no choice. So Imam Sahib sent his student with a note of Imam Abu Hanifa, and in some narration, he went himself to the masjid and he woke the mu'adhin up, call out adhan for Fajr. He wasn't woke up. But it is 1 hour to go for Fajr. He said, yes. What did your teacher say? Your Imam? Yeah, he asked me to just follow your instruction. Let's go. So the minute he starts saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The lady said, see, sorted, I'm going. And the sheikh was like, my goodness. And then after the adhan completed, Imam Sahib with this muadhin came to the house and said, no, nothing happened. It was a wrong adhan. They did it in order for you to say, because he didn't say that you would speak to me. You would say anything, then your nikah was maintained. So she said that, see, and then that was enough for nikah to not be broken. So they would continue with their qasam. They would come up with funny situations. If you read some of those stories, you'd be amazed how far they would go. So anyway, that nikah was sorted by the imams. So imams could do it because they were so well acquainted and learned about it. Allah inspired them. Imam Shafi'i, rahmatullah, men came. He had a small daughter. And he said, when you grow up, I just love you so much that I would give you something better than the whole world. I would give you in your nikah, at your nikah time as a dowry, something better than the whole world. I will give you the wealth of whole world. And then obviously you say it and you don't mean it. But at the time of nikah, he realized, oh my goodness, what am I going to give to my daughter? And he came to Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i said, just speak to the family and take a month, 2 months, 6 months, however long it takes, and give your daughter Quran. Teach her Quran. Quran is better than the whole world. That is the dawlah, the wealth that could you give to your daughter as a gift. So make sure that you make your daughter a hafiza, a alima of Quran. If she learns Quran, even if it takes a year, doesn't matter. Let them wait. He did it. And the daughter got the dawlat, the wealth of Quran. She became the most, obviously. So this is how they would work. So they would do the hifz, the protection of their ayman, their oaths. So expiation. In that order, I already mentioned it, you know. So now, just regards the oath, there's a false oath people do take. We'll finish inshallah in the next few minutes. False oath. There are 2 types. Something about future, something about past. For future, it's called munaqida. You get established. Wallahi, I wouldn't do this. Wallahi, I would do that. Wallahi, I would go to, and you mean it. You intend it. This is just wasteful. This is love. We just mentioned. La yu'akhidukum Allah bil-lagwi. This is love. So no expiation. But if you meant it, which in this case you will, then you have to fulfill that. If you meant it, that I would not, then you have to do it. Or I will, then you have to do it. If you do not do that, then you have to pay the penalty. The penalty, we just mentioned. Either you feed them, give them clothes, 10 people. Or if you don't have that money, or if you can't free the slave, fast 3 consecutive days. If it was about the past actions, there are 2 types. Yamin al-ghamus and yamin al-lagh. Yamin al-ghamus, yamin al-lagh, something that happened in the past. Ghams, does anyone know the meaning of ghams? Drowned. Something which is drowned. When you put your hand in the water, your hand is just be the ghamis of that. So ghams, so ghamus. This is the oath about the past, a false one that would drown the person in the hellfire, which is that they said, and they knew it, intentionally saying that I have done this. This is from the 7 mubiqat, the most gravest of the sins. Out of the major sins, Rasulullah ﷺ said the 7 that would shave off the iman. There would just be a killer for the iman. And this is including them there. Al-Yamin, al-Ghamus, to the point that it is so severe, there's no expiation. You can't do any expiation to expiate it. It is unerasable. Only sincere tawbah. Sincere tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hoping that Allah would forgive it. Whether Allah does, that's Allah's choice. That's Allah's decision. But you have done something that there's no way you can expiate for it. It's a big thing. So never ever take oath. People do it day in, day out. Something about past. I have not done it in order to prove themselves innocent or guilty or whatever, the other party guilty, especially with husband and wife disputes in the court. In order to save some money, we do lie against each other in the court with the disputes. Sometimes even without the court decision, only in the counseling, just to face saving, just for the sake of face saving, in order to show that I am bigger than you, I am better than you. So people just continue to have a good opinion about me. My izzah, my name or fame shouldn't get tainted. That's one of the biggest sins one can commit. The other one is lagh, which we just mentioned. Lagh is when you know and you're saying about the past, but you think, you think that this is true. In your mind, you just think it's for example, I say, yes, I woke up 7 o'clock, but I didn't realize clock was changed last night. It was actually 6 o'clock for whatever reason. So I didn't intend wrong, and I believe that I am right. So that's my oath is fine. So you would not be sinful for that. That is okay. But try to avoid taking oath willy-nilly. Okay. Inshallah ta'ala, we leave it there. The next few I will cover next time, inshallah ta'ala. Any question on that? So avoid swearing, avoid taking the oath every so often. And then, inshallah ta'ala, be better. May Allah make it easy. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.